What's up guys, Ivan Carranza here, and I think that I just had the best live sound that I've ever had, and I want to share with you this story and tell you about the event and also give you some takeaways from this experience and also share what I take away from the experience and what I've learned from doing this. So I just came back from playing the Mighty Sounds festival in the Czech Republic with the band Dr. Krapula, and the sound that I had there was amazing. Now, we all play with in-ear monitors, so I always have the same sound night to night. It doesn't change. Maybe some nights the room changes a little bit because the drum mics are picking up some more reverb or the vocal mics are picking some more reverb. But this was an open air festival with a lot of people, right? So usually I always have the same sound on my ears. But I got to watch some clips that were taken from the front of the stage, some which you're gonna see in this video later, and I was so impressed by the sound and how punchy, clear, yet full my bass sound was. Now I don't have all the videos, I have some of them that I'm including in this whole thing, but I think that they're gonna give you a reference of the sound that I had that day. Now bear in mind, Dr. Krapula is not a band where I'm using a rock bass sound or that I'm trying to cut through the mix in any way. If anything, I want my bass to be really the foundation of the band, because we have songs ranging from reggae to Latin, cumbia bass, to more rock-oriented songs, ska tracks. So my bass sound has to cover quite a bit of range. And I'm not going for a really sharp tone that cuts through the mix. So I'm really trying to support the whole thing. And for some tracks, I do add a little bit of drive, or I have some more mids so that my bass is more like, or pushes forward a little bit more, but overall is a very round tone. But I think what you're gonna notice in these clips is how clear the sound was. And my sound check lasted maybe 1 minute at most, maybe 2 minutes, like seriously. We set up, which you're gonna see also later in the video, put the things there. We had very little time, just a line check to check everything. And the sound engineer from the festival took literally 2 minutes to EQ my bass for the venue, or well, for the festival. And that was it. And I've never heard my bass sounding so clear and so punchy. So just to, cut right through the chase, because you can watch the clips later if you want. If not, you can take it from here. One thing that I'm very much convinced of is that your bass sound, especially if you're playing live, if you're doing it in the studio, you can definitely go a lot more in depth and be a bit more picky. But when you're playing live, you're playing different venues, right? So you're playing maybe one day in a club, the other day at a festival that's open air, maybe you're playing in a big tent. You never know how the venue is going to look like. Venues vary in dimensions. Some are like really long and like a corridor. Some are really wide. Some have high ceilings. Some have low ceilings. You never know what you're going to encounter, right? So if you over EQ your bass to make it sound like the record, let's say, sometimes you're not giving the sound engineer enough material to work with, because you've already boosted a lot of bass or boosted a lot of treble or cut away a lot of frequencies. So the only option that the sound engineer has is to fix and fight the EQ curves that you've already done. You can think of it as if you had a marble, like a sculpture, and you already started chipping away at some things. If you go too far, the person trying to make a sculpture out of your bass sound doesn't have any material to work with there. So unless you have a personal sound engineer that you carry from show to show, and that person knows what kind of sound or what they have to do with your sound, I would prefer to err on the side of doing a broad shaping of the sound that you want to have, and then if possible on the venue talking to the sound engineer and telling the person, hey, this is the style we're going for, you know. Ideally that person already heard your tracks, but you know, from experience in festivals like this, like I said, I had 2 minutes of sound check, so there's not a lot of room for this. But if you send a sound that already by itself works without adding too much EQ and compression, but really the main portion of your sound comes from your technique, so directly from the source, so it already sounds good without having to add too much EQ or too much compression or too many things on top, or the engineer has to, you know, kind of like band-aid your sound with a limiter or something because you're playing consistencies all over the place. If your core sound is already sounding good for the band, then for the person in front, making a good job is a lot easier. So then your band is also going to sound much better. So I would rather, like I said, err on the side of not doing like 15 dB of boost on something, or cutting some really weird frequency curves, which you can nowadays do on some pedals, especially on multi-effects units like the quad Cortex that I have, and instead get a, let's say, raw, it's not raw, but a purer sound than if you were to apply a bunch of things on top of it. Now, like I said, this varies from situation to situation. If you know the sound engineer and you've worked with that person, then you can really go crazy with these things. You can really narrow down and have a very clear patch or sound setup that you want to have. But ideally, from experience, if you over EQ, most of the time it ends up not sounding that well live, because, like I said, the sound engineer is probably going to have to fight your EQ curves, because what you do at home playing levels sounds completely different than how it sounds when you're playing very loud in an open air stage, for example. If you want to check out the performance, here it comes. I also talk a little bit about the journey, traveling, and you get to see the festival and the rest of the trip. So enjoy. What's up, guys? We just arrived to the Mighty Sounds Festival. We're at the band area. See, there's the dressing rooms. I think that's catering. I don't know what that is, but you can see the stage over there. And it's a pretty good day. It's fairly sunny, so I think it's gonna be a cool show. It was a long drive. We drove yesterday the entire day. We left at like 12, like noon, more like 12:30, 1 p.m. around that time, and we arrived to our hotel around midnight. So we were on the road for 12 hours, which was a long drive, but I think it's gonna be, like I said, a cool show. It's a big stage, so it's gonna be fun to play, and I'm looking forward to see the crowd. hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with the content that's coming to the channel. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.